Hello readers, this is Justin's 52 Books, where I discuss the 52 Book Club's 2022 Reading Challenge and my selections for it. Every year the 52 Book Club puts out a reading challenge with 52 prompts or suggestions for books or subjects of books to read. And it's up to the reader to fill in those prompts with their selection of their books. This is week 9, and I'm talking this week about Prompt 10, a book based on a real person. And what's more real person-ish than a memoir, but not just any old memoir. This week I am reading You Borg Now by Said Shaiye, and it was written in 2021. I chose it because it was going through, I was going through the list of Minnesota Book Award finalists, and I saw the Borg reference. Me being from Minnesota, me being a big Star Trek geek, I was immediately invested. It's like, oh yeah, cool, I want to know more about that. Then I saw that it was under the category of memoir and creative nonfiction. It's up for that award. And while I was, this is just too different to pass up, is where I was coming from. The book takes ideas about memoir and healing through writing, pop culture name dropping, and faith, and tries to create something new and fresh, and definitely something I've never read before or anything like it, and I'm here for it. So what is it then? It's a memoir written by Mr. Shaiye about his existence in America as a Somali refugee, his growing up with family and childhood trauma, his addictions through adulthood, his struggles with racial and religious identity in this country, and ultimately his return and embracing of Islam. Sprinkled throughout are nods to hip-hop rhymes, a bunch of pop culture references, a lot of Star Trek Voyager references specifically, and interestingly enough, a lot of his immigration documents that kind of chart his course from being a 2-year-old leaving Nairobi to going to Georgia, to going to Seattle, to coming here to Minnesota. All of it is wrapped around a very interesting writing form that takes shape as a conversation with an aspect of himself where he separates his written self from his writing self. That form, if it had started off any differently, would have felt like a writing exercise in kind of the worst way, and I'll get back to my thoughts about that in a second, but it really won me over. As I read through the book, the back and forth takes on different meanings and different modes. And at one point, it's almost like a hip-hop hype man, like Flava Flav out there, repeating stuff back and adding to it. And then at another part, it almost feels like prayers and call and response of a psalm. The main purpose for the writing technique and why it works so well is that it's the writer's way of writing about a painful life and coming to terms with that. For a moment in the book, I thought it was going to kind of turn into an addiction recovery story, and I generally don't read those and invest myself in those too much. I figure the purpose of those books is in the writing, not so much in the reading. And that's where I get back to what I was talking about. If it had started out in a different way, it would have felt like a writing exercise gone wrong. But if it had started off in any different way, it would have turned me off. Mr. Shaiye starts the book with Star Trek references, and specifically Star Trek Voyager references, and it's his way to illustrate the alienation of being the other and having your homeland not be your home. And specifically the way he does that is with 2 words, Naomi Wildman, and then he goes on later on with 7 of 9. Those are characters in Star Trek Voyager, and I've seen that show. Many people probably haven't, but I have, and that was a way for him to communicate that specific topic directly to me. And in that way, he's speaking a language that him and I share, and we don't share much. We share a nationality, state driver's license, probably the need to wear warm clothing in the winter, since he's from Minnesota now. But that knowledge and that feeling perfectly is explained by him saying those 2 words. And that passes on what he needs me to know. And that's a language, if I've ever heard one. And it's a language we both speak. And that was really important to me. I've never had a writer share a message with me like that before. And it knocked me down. Maybe not gonna have the same effect with other people who've not seen that show or who know what the Borg are, but the effect was there for me, and that is important to me at least. Mr. Shaiye, being Somali in Minnesota, has racial issues that he has to deal with that I can't deny. He echoes frustrations that I've heard other Islamic writers write about when talking about white liberals, and I suppose he would be talking about and writing about me. As a reader, and as the person commenting on the video on this video, I'm left with what to do about that. And I figured it's my job to understand, to listen, and to not get in the way. And with that, I want to thank Mr. Shaiye for his book. I want to apologize for my maybe arrogance for thinking that that's a language between him and me by him writing Naomi Wildman that told me exactly what he wanted me to know. But maybe you don't need to hear any more of my thoughts. But thank you to Mr. Shaiye for his bravery in writing and also seeing published his wonderful book. Thank you, sir. That's it for week 9 of Justin's 52 Books. I was talking about You Borg Now by Said Shaiye. And that was my book for Prompt 10, a book based on a real person. For more information about the 52 Book Club's prompts, you can check them out on their website, the52bookclub.com. You can also check them out on Facebook and Goodreads. You can also check me out on Goodreads and Storygraph at Justin's 52 Books. I hope to see you next week for Prompt 46, a book with a job title, and I got a clue for you. It's one hell of a job. Thanks a lot for watching, and happy reading. Quote, "I never know what keeps me moving until I need to be moved."